Hello everybody, my name is Frankie and welcome back to my channel. Today I am sitting in a new location than I normally am, so if the lighting looks a little crappier than usual, that is why, but I am sitting here instead of in front of my bookshelves like I normally am because today I have a really big unhaul that I'm going to share with you guys, and all my books were piled on the ground, so I thought it would be easier to sit closer to the ground so I would not have to stretch as much to reach the books to show you what I'm going to unhaul. I took a lot of books off of my shelf and decided to get rid of them, mostly because I'm starting college very soon, in a few weeks actually, and I actually thought I would be going to college to start it, but I just found out that my college is going to be online for the first semester, which is a little bit of a bummer considering I was really putting a lot of my hope into being on campus. But you know, it is what it is. Gotta be safe, gotta protect the public. Just wish they would have let us know a little bit sooner. It's okay, I'm not salty. But I definitely decided to do a little cleaning of my room when I thought I was going to leave, so I got rid of a ton of books. I also needed to make room on my shelves for all the books that I was buying, so there were basically two reasons to do this unhaul, and so now I'm gonna go through some of the books that I'm going to get rid of. A little bit of an extra point before we continue: a lot of these books I either do not remember buying or received randomly from relatives, I think. A lot of them are books that I have had since I was like very little. A lot of them I haven't even read, but honestly, like at this point I have like no interest in reading them, either because they are a little bit below my age range, and a lot of them are just kind of books that have read or I just don't really like or feel interested in rereading anymore. I'm not super attached to any of them, and for most of them I probably won't even be able to tell you what they're about because I never even picked them up or never even read the synopsis, and honestly I don't even know why they were on my shelves for so long. So I'm going to go through all of them. There are so many, and I'm going to try to be super quick about it. Well, let me get my first pile here. Okay, so most of these books I'm going to donate to my library when my library opens up donations again. Their donations are closed, so maybe this is not a very good time to be doing this unhaul, but you know, I'm doing it anyway, so whatever. So I'm going to donate a lot of these books to the library, but I'm also going to be giving some books to my younger cousins because they really like reading, and I know that they get a lot of books and book recommendations from me. So I'm going to send off some of my favorite books from this unhaul to my cousins because I think they will be interested in them. So I'm going to go through those books that I'm sending before I go through the other ones, because I know a little bit more about the ones that I'm going to be sending to my cousins. So the first series of books that I'm going to unhaul are Boys Are Dogs, Girls Acting Catty, and Everybody Bugs Out, which does not have a dust jacket anymore, by Leslie Margolis. I used to absolutely adore this series when I was in elementary school. It's basically about this girl, and she gets like a new puppy the first year that she's going into middle school, and she is like met with all of these like annoying boys in middle school, and she's like, how do I deal with them? She's like, I'm just gonna train them like I trained my puppy. And it's kind of really funny, and I really liked it when I was a kid, and so I'm going to pass it on to my younger cousin because I think she's right at the age group that would appreciate these books, and I want them to find a new loving home because they were some of my favorite books when I was a kid. Next up on the list is 11 by Lauren Miracle. This is one of the books in a series that follows this girl named Winnie, and through her ages, I don't know how far it goes, but I think I've read most of them, and for some reason 11 is the only one that I own a physical copy of. But I also remember really liking this series when I was a kid. You know, it's a pretty typical like coming of age middle grade. It's really good, it's really sweet and really well written. I like Lauren Miracle. I like how she writes. I've read a few of her other books that I cannot recall right now. But again, passing this on to my youngest cousin because I think she'd really like it. Another book that I'm passing on is Miss Frisbee and the Rats of Nim by Robert C. O'Brien. I don't remember a ton about this book, but I know it has a lot of like accolades. I mean, you can see it has a John Newbery Medal right here, which is, I think it's pretty prestigious. I think it's just about some rats, and they live in a place called Nim. I don't know what they do there, but I remember liking it when I was a kid, and I'm gonna give it to my little cousin. Next up I'm getting rid of is The Princess Plot by Kristen Boy. I have a very specific memory of reading this one time during like Thanksgiving break with my family, and we were staying in this like cute little cabin, and I was reading this book, and I was like loving it so much. And that's kind of like the only memory I have associated with this book. I really have no idea what it's about at all. I can read the back synopsis and tell you it is about winning the starring role in a movie as a princess. Like the starring role is a princess and somebody wins that role, and there's a plot involved, which is why it's called The Princess Plot. But I remember nothing else except that I really like this, so I hope my cousin likes it too. Next up is a graphic novel called Tomboy by Liz Prince. Oh, it's actually a graphic memoir, just kidding. I think this is just another coming of age story about a girl who is a tomboy, obviously. I think I read this a long time ago. It's kind of newer, I think, actually, so maybe I read it more recently, but I think I liked it. I just don't really have any memories associated with it, but it seems pretty good, so I'm going to pass it on to my cousins. Next series of books are books that I'm going to pass on to my cousin, who is like a little bit older, so she's a little bit closer to my age range of books. The first of those being The Haters by Jesse Andrews. I have actually 2 copies of this book, and I'm going to keep the paperback copy that I have. I don't remember why I had 2 copies. I think maybe I bought 1 copy initially when I saw it and thought it looked interesting, and then I bought the other copy because I forgot that I bought the first copy, which I tend to do a lot. But anyway, I'm going to pass this on to my cousin because I really liked it. I think it's about like a band, and they really hate everything, but they have a band, and the people in the band are like traveling, and it's like kind of a road trip story, and I like a good road trip story. I hope my older cousin likes it too. Next up is another book that I have duplicate copies of, and that's Looking for Alaska by John Green. Oh, this one's kind of beat up. Maybe I should get the other copy that is less beat up for my cousin. Oh well. Yeah, Looking for Alaska, John Green. He's, people know who he is, I think. I liked this book. It's not my favorite John Green, I would say, but I thought it was pretty good. I think that my cousin, maybe she should wait a few years before reading it, because I think I read it way too young, and my cousin is about the age that I was when I read it, but still I'm going to pass it on to her for the future because I really do not need 2 copies of the same book. Next on the list is Tiger Eyes by Judy Blume. This is a Judy Blume book that I really don't know anything about. It's a major motion picture. I don't think I've ever heard of the movie, but I think this edition has pictures from the movie. Chloe Grace Moretz? No, it's not. Anyway, I don't remember anything about this book at all, but from the synopsis it sounds pretty good, and it's Judy Blume, and I loved Judy Blume as a kid, and this is one of Judy Blume's more like serious, slightly more young adult novels, I think, that I think would be better suited to my older cousin. I don't know, I don't feel any sort of in need to reread it, but it looks interesting. I think I liked it when I read it for the first time, but again, I could not tell you any sort of memory I have associated with this, so I'm passing it on. And finally, I'm passing on to my older cousin, The Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I think this is actually a pretty popular book on BookTube and a pretty popular series, but I remember reading the first one and, liking it enough, but definitely not liking it enough to continue on with the series, and just not really being a big enough fan to keep it, so I'm hoping to give it to my cousin and maybe she can read it, and if she's interested in reading the rest of the series, she can. Yeah, just a young adult fantasy, I think, about people whose blood is different colors, and that sort of depends on their class. Like, their class is determined by their blood, which is a bit of an interesting concept. So yeah, hopefully my cousin likes it. So the rest of these books are books that I am just going to be donating to my library because I know a little bit less about them, or I just don't think that they would really pertain to my younger cousins, and I also just want to pass them on to the library because, I like doing that kind of thing. I like giving back to my community. The first book series that I'm going to be passing on and donating is the Smoke and Shadow series of Avatar: The Last Airbender comics. I love Avatar, but I'm really not a big fan of the comics. This might be a little bit of a controversial opinion, but I don't really like what they do to the characters, and I think that when you don't have Ernie Has, who is the driving force behind the writing for the Avatar: The Last Airbender show, it really shows. in these sort of comics because, I don't know, the storytelling feels a little bit off, the characters feel a little bit off, but that's just me analyzing Avatar way too much. I do not know why I bought this series. I read all of the other comic series that I was interested in reading online, but for some reason I bought this one. And like I said, I wasn't a huge fan of it, and I'm not a huge fan of the comics, so I really don't feel the need to keep them, and I would rather give them to my library so some kid who really likes the Avatar comics can read them. Another graphic novel that I have, and I do not remember why I have it, where I got it, or why I need to keep it, is the graphic novel version of The Red Pyramid by Rick Riordan, and it is adapted by Orpheus Color. What an appropriate name to be adapting a Rick Riordan book, Orpheus. I mean, it's not the Greek mythology adaptation, it's Egyptian mythology, but you know, still, yeah. Anyway, moving on. I read The Red Pyramid, and it's been the only non-PJO slash HOO slash TOA Rick Riordan book that I have ever read, and I did not like it, so I do not know why I own this graphic novel. Who gave this to me? Why is it on my bookshelf? I'm not sure, but I really think that some kid at the library who actually likes the series will get a lot more use out of this graphic novel than I ever will. Okay, I have one more graphic novel that I'm getting rid of. It's actually not a graphic novel, it's technically manga, and it is Fairy Tail Volume 1. When I was in middle school, I had a friend who really liked Fairy Tail, and for some reason I thought I would read the manga instead of watching the anime, because the anime seemed a little too intimidating to me because it's so long, and I picked up the manga and I read it, and I had absolutely no interest in continuing, but I also did not get rid of the manga, so now it has just been sitting on my shelf collecting dust for years, and I'm going to hand it off to somebody else because Fairy Tail, that's not my thing. Okay, so next up are a bunch of books that I really have absolutely no idea what they're about. I have no idea why I have them. I think I've read some of them, but I cannot tell you, I cannot remember a single thing about them, so I'm just going to go through them very, very quickly. And if there's one thing that I do have a particular memory or something specific to say, I will say it. In that sort of list of books is Bone Gap by Laura Ruby, Maid of Deception by Jennifer McGowan. What is this book? Why is it on my shelf? Snow Like Ashes by Sarah Rush. The Rose Society by Mary Lou. Okay, actually, I do remember why I have this. It's because I read The Young Elites, and I did not like it that much, but for some reason, I guess I bought the second book, which is weird. And I also didn't even read The Young Elites like in hard copy. I think I checked it out from the library. So now I just have the second book in the series. I don't know, I hope my library will appreciate that. I also have The One Thing by Marcy Lynn Curtis, Survive the Night by Danielle Vega, Spy Camp by Stuart Gibbs. Oh, wait, he wrote Belly Up? Oh, okay, that's probably why I got this. The Rise and Fall of a Theater Geek by Seth Rudetsky. Okay. I also have Girl Online by Zoe Sugg, aka Zoella. For a while, I was really in a British YouTuber phase. I bought this book probably in the same fell swoop that I bought all of Dan and Phil's books. I'm not even subscribed to Zoella anymore. I have absolutely no reason to own this book, so I don't know why I have for so long. I also, on the list, have a copy of The Lost Hero by Rick Riordan. This is a duplicate copy that I have. I do not own the dust jacket of. I don't even know if my library will take it if I don't have the dust jacket. But I have two copies of The Lost Hero, and one of them is signed, so I kept the signed copy. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna give this to the library if they will take it, sans dust jacket. Some more books, I have absolutely no idea what they are about. The Ghosts of Heaven by Marcus Sedgwick, and The Square Root of Summer by Harriet Reuter Hapgood. I also have another YouTuber book that I don't think I have ever even opened, and that is How to Be a Boss by Lily Singh. I think I was at some point a really big fan of Lily Singh. I am not a big fan of Lily Singh anymore, and I think after I received this book, I was not a big fan of Lily Singh. So I don't know, that was a very short-lived obsession, I guess, but I don't want to read this really. Oh, we're not even done yet. Okay, some more books I don't remember anything about at all. Operation Yes by Sarah Lewis Holmes. Moon Over Manifest by Nope, that's That's the name of the publisher. Moon Over Manifest by Claire Vanderpool. Again, no dust jacket, so hopefully my library will take it. Blind by Rachel DeWaskin. Shadow Jumper by J.M. Forrester. The Tower of the Five Orders by Darren R. Hicks. The Smell of Other People's Houses by Bonnie Sue Hitchcock. The Homeroom Diaries by James Patterson. Mr. Lemoncello's Library by Chris Gabardstein. And The Princess Academy by Shannon Hale. And then there are a few more that I know a little bit more about, but I'm getting rid of anyway. I have Withering Tights by Louise Redinson. I bought this book when I was in England with my family when I was young, I think in elementary school, and I didn't have anything to do and I didn't have anything to read, so I bought this book. But it was a young adult book, and it was like they were talking about like sex and stuff, and I was like, I don't know what these words mean, because I was in like 5th grade, and it was a little bit of a scarring experience for me. And you know, I don't feel the need to keep this around. I also have another YouTuber book, and that is Binge by Tyler Oakley. I read this, I think I liked it, but you know, it's a YouTuber book. I don't really like Tyler Oakley anymore, and not even subscribe to him anymore, so I'm just gonna get rid of it. I also have, Whoology, the Doctor Who official miscellany book, I guess, of just information about Doctor Who, but it's ridiculously outdated because I think it was published during Rory and Amy's like last season, so there's been like a million other seasons since then. And I also am not a big enough fan of Doctor Who anymore to justify having a encyclopedia of information that I could just look up on Wikipedia. And finally, I have The Horse and His Boy by C.S. Lewis, which is the 3rd book in the Chronicles of Narnia series. I don't own a single book in the Chronicles of Narnia series except for the 3rd one of all of the books. I think I read the Chronicles of Narnia in middle school. I have no motivation to continue to read them, so I'm just going to get rid of this 3rd book and add it to my library's collection. Okay, those are all the books that I'm going to be unhauling. There were a ton, and I could not tell you anything about a large majority of them. Yeah, so I'm going to college, and that's my huge unhaul. I know that not a lot of these books are very well known, so it probably wasn't super exciting for you guys to watch, but I thought I would just make this video really quickly so I could have some content for my channel, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you've read any of the books I mentioned, probably when you were kind of young. Let me know if I said any of the books that I didn't know anything about that you think I should read still, because again, I did not read a ton of these books. I just don't think I need to keep them anymore because of that. But if you saw one of the books that I unhauled and you're like, Frankie, that's my favorite ever book, and you should totally give it a shot, then you should leave that in the comments below, because these books are just going to be sitting around for a while until my library accepts donations. So there is not really a time limit on when you can tell me that kind of thing, because honestly, who knows when my library will be opening donations back up. So yeah, let me know. Also be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it. Also, you can find my social media links in the description, so you can follow me on Twitter, Tumblr, or Goodreads. Also be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I'm going to be putting out some more videos very soon, so be sure to subscribe if you're interested in seeing that. And I will see you all next time. Bye!